Real hustle, real people, real results.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Real Hustle Podcast. My name is Chris Kiblin, and I will be your host today. Today, we have a very special guest in the house, Jeff Goldstein with Elite Medical Spa, and he'll be discussing his spa and some of his successes that he has in a few minutes. But before we get started, please make sure you check us out at realhustle.com, where you can watch all of our podcasts, plus check out our gear where we have hats, hoodies, you name it, t-shirts, all kinds of great stuff. And then at checkout, use promo code podcast and save 10% off of your order. All right, let's get started. What's up, Jeff? How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Well, thank you for being here.
You bet, Chris. Yeah.
All right, so you run a medical spa, but a little bit of a different than what most people think of a spa type of thing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the difference between a regular spa or a day spa would be a medical spa. And so what a medical spa is that we do medical procedures under medical professionals, people that like physician assistants, physicians, doctors, and certified electrolysis, laser techs. So it's not just doing basic facials, but it's doing more medical procedures that have to do with, instead of doing like dermatology, we do medical cosmetics, medical dermatology.
Gotcha. Okay. So tell us a little bit how you got started in this and where you've grown to.
Yeah, so we've been in Sarasota, our first location, 6 years now. When we first began, we were another name, and we were with this small group for about 3 years. And as we continued to grow and evolve, we decided to actually go independent. Okay. So what happened was we changed our name, we rebranded a little bit, and now became Elite Medical Spa, which has been a really cool thing because it more defines what our name is, a medical spa, and we do elite procedures. So
it's pretty cool. I mean, when I first came to your guys' office location off of Bee Ridge in Sarasota, I sat there and I walked in, and it does have that spa feel, but it's much different. And it's not like, you know, because it's medical, you would think it may be more like a doctor's office, right? But It's not. It's very calm, relaxing in there, which I found very intriguing because like you didn't feel like you're just getting a procedure or you weren't going to see like a doctor in a doctor's office. It was nice, and the music and everything in the background. It was awesome. So tell us a little bit, because I know you do a bunch of different procedures, and so I know that you guys just started one, which is one that I'm actually involved about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one, because that one's I think is awesome.
yeah, no, for sure. And I've tried it myself, so I know. The EMSCULPT NEO is the newest procedure we're doing. We've started it about 3 months ago. EMSCULPT NEO it's a body contouring device. It's the only one on the market that has 2 different technologies in it. And so the 2 technologies are used for fat reduction and also muscle building. So the old devices for body contouring were just to remove fat, and so this device is doing 2 things. So again, fat reduction and muscle building. It also has a radio frequency technology in it, which helps with skin tightening. So, which is a really nice thing, especially if you're going to be losing that fat. You want to help tighten the skin a little bit too.
Yeah, because like one of the cool things that so I don't know if I ever told you this, but like probably about a year ago, I'd actually considered having liposuction done. And because of the fact that I had this stomach area that I just couldn't get rid of. I mean, my wife's a trainer, and and she's like the ultimate person with cooking and and everything that we do and exercising and everything else. I was just really struggling with it and losing that bit. But like the scary part was going under, right? And the complications that you can have. And when I found out about this, I was like, this is so much, like, as far as peace of mind for me, because like you didn't have to worry about being put under or worry about going through all that stuff. And then like one of the things that I found cool about it is that basically once you do this, you do a half an hour session. It's like doing 10,000 crunches.
Yeah, it's actually 19,000 crunches.
19,000 crunches.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy, right? I mean, who in their right mind could do 19,000 crunches in 30 minutes, right? So, I mean, and once I got hooked up into the machine, it was like the way that it just contracted your stomach was crazy. It was like an intense sit-up, but it didn't hurt. And it was really cool. And so, it was like, wow, and so like I'm in my third treatment now, and I've seen a big change just in this small period of time. And I know that, like you were saying, like this is supposed to actually go until 90 days later is when you really see the ultimate results.
Yeah, definitely. And the real cool thing about it also is that we can treat people up to a BMI of 35, where the other technology, I think, went up to 25. So that's another big thing. Oh, wow. So you really can work on people who are even just a little bit heavier, help them, get to their goal or lose that additional weight on their own or with assistance with the procedure.
That's pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. So what's some of the other type of procedures that you guys offer there?
Yeah. So one of the big things are injectables. So we're doing Botox, we're doing Xeomin, which is a Botox alternative. We call it Pure Tox. They ultimately do the same thing, but there's different technologies under a microscope what they look like and when they're injected, but they're injected the same. A big thing we do in the spa are fillers. So fillers in the cheeks, the lips. We're using fillers now in the body for tightening the skin, specifically in the neck area. So fillers, Botox, those are probably our two biggest and hottest treatments right now in the spa, especially now that people have taken their masks off and that. Right. And then we're also doing something called PDO threads, which are a dissolvable thread that we put underneath the skin to pull the skin and almost like shrink wrap the skin, and then we're able to tie the skin back. So you can basically do that once a year, every year and a half, instead of having surgery. And that's really the goal in the spa, is to get people to where they want to look, how they want to ultimately feel, right, without having to go under the knife.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And I know that's big, right? So many people don't want to go underneath the knife, and there's so much risk going on with that. So how did you decide that you wanted to get into this type of business?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a certified physician assistant. I've been practicing now almost 19 years. Throughout my career, I did GI, hepatology, I did orthopedic surgery, and then I was in emergency medicine and hospital medicine for several years, which I enjoyed and loved. That's been my passion. When I was working at an urgent care, here in Sarasota, actually, I took a Botox class, and I thought, I'm going to just kind of learn something new. I love learning, so why not? And really fell in love with it. So then I started injecting people and started doing Botox events at like hair salons and stuff. What I noticed was, it's like, you get immediate results with fillers. You're dealing with happy people. So I call it happy medicine, because you're ultimately right, making people feel really good versus, you can make people feel good by treating them, but, sometimes you're not always making them immediately feel better. Right. So I do like the fact that with cosmetics, is that you can make somebody feel good on the inside and the outside all at the same time. And so I got into it and fell in love with it, got out of medicine completely, and now I do, all cosmetics.
Now, do you treat mainly women, or do you have a lot of men that do it too?
Yeah, great question, because we get asked this all the time. So our biggest clientele are our females' husbands.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
So over time, we're treating females. Next thing you know, their spouse comes in with them. So we have probably about 500 male clients that we treat with injectables. Wow. And so a lot of, men that you wouldn't think, very atypical, not your like normal guy who would think you'd be getting Botox and fillers. So definitely a lot of men though. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that is growing, right? I do think that we're all kind of like, we just want to look younger, feel younger, and so like this is a way to do it without having to go through crazy procedures. And the thing is like I just think that's just the way our society is nowadays. And so, I think people want to feel good about themselves, and unfortunately, we can't stop the aging process, but we can help slow it down a little bit. And I think this is what part of that is.
Right.
So you've been through and you've been doing, so you've been in this for 19 years, you said, right? Yeah. So you did something kind of special last year. And actually it was the first time I've ever heard of you, is because people were sharing stuff on Facebook about you and being on the news. You went to New York last year to help out with COVID.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that. What was that experience like? What was it like being on the news and getting all this popularity and all this stuff?
Yeah. So basically, when we shut down here in Florida, I was off a couple days, and I started receiving phone calls from different recruiters and different. I think it was through a local recruiter or a national recruiter, and they basically said, "We saw you had emergency medicine experience. Do you want to go and work in New York?" And at first, I was like, hopefully our spa would open back up pretty quick.
Right.
But then I thought, like, I don't think it's going to happen. And so I do have a lot of ER experience, and I love, medicine in general. So I was like, hey, I'll go. So I got on a plane literally the next day, went to New York, and then stayed almost 5 weeks. And basically in New York, it was another world. I mean,
that's what I was going to ask you. What was the feeling like up there? How was it? Because I know New York was completely different than it was down here. Yeah.
So, when you got off the plane, I mean, it was from no one was having masks on in Florida to everybody had a mask on. It was very isolated there. So we pretty much went straight to our hotel, but I was pretty close to Times Square. Nobody was around. There were no cars on the road. It was just very desolate. And then it was very military ran. And then the reason I say that is because it was like, as soon as you got there, drop your bags off, go downstairs for the meeting. And then they gave you your assignment, and you were basically not allowed to leave your hotel room because they wanted you to obviously not get, be around other people.
All right.
And then we got our assignments, and I got assigned to Elmhurst Hospital, which was their big COVID hospital. So I was in the ER there, and it was definitely an eye-awakening from a medical side, and being like, man, at first, what did I get myself into? To this is crazy. But being there was cool because I was able to help, do what I could. And use my time away from my business and actually make it worth it. So
were you somewhat scared when you were up there? Because the thing is being around all these people that had COVID, right?
Yeah.
And watching them, what they're going through. Not really. I mean, we really didn't know back then what we know now. Yeah. So psychologically, what was that like? Because I'm just wondering, being around that and, with everything that was happening, I mean, you probably had to have some kind of thoughts of like, okay, what happens if I get sick?
Right. Yeah, and at first that was definitely how I felt. You just had to wear the proper masks and all that, of course, but was that enough? And because they didn't know.
Right.
But really, when you're in medicine and you are seeing a patient with, for example, diarrhea, right, and that could be very infectious, you just take the same precautions. So you just follow suit. And I think the worst part was seeing all the patients that were passing away.
Right.
But in medicine, you get used to that sort of thing, unfortunately. And so you're just there to do your job. So it was definitely a breath, not a breath of fresh air, but like a breath back to the medicine. And you're like, it was an eye opener for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know you were on the local news here, right?
Yeah.
Were you on any national news or?
It did go national,
yeah,
because I'm from Chicago, and so I had people reaching out that saw it up north and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But there was, I think, 600 PAs that went and worked. So I still talk to them, and still I'm through Facebook and stuff. So we're kind of all, I guess, family in a way from that experience, because we all got through it together, and then we're missing our families, and
Right.
but yeah, we got home safely, and now we're all back to the grind. So.
That was awesome. Yeah, because I mean that's the thing is like especially going to an unknown, and just kind of putting yourself out there, you know, and that's the thing with the we owe our medical people so much for that kind of stuff and really just being in the front lines because they had no idea of what was going on. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, of
So
course.
all right, let's get back to your business. So all right, so you got your business now, and I know that you have a second location where you do some stuff with up in Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit what your goals are as far as expansion and where you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Sure. So in Lakewood Ranch right now, we have a small salon loft, and we call it our Botox bar, Botox and filler bar. What we do in there, basically, like it says, Botox, filler. It's for clients that want to come in and out. So 2 of us injectors are there, so we're there 3 days a week. Lakewood Ranch, as you know, continues to grow. So our goal is to get another elite med spa location as like our Sarasota office, but in Lakewood Ranch. My goal is to kind of duplicate or replicate what we have in Sarasota and put it out in the Lakewood Ranch area. So we have been looking at property, but right now it's been pretty tough. But that is our goal, yeah, for sure.
To grow like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of tell me, when you first started, obviously, what kind of, maybe give me something that was a struggle at first that you turned to a success, maybe some growing pains. Kind of tell me a little bit. Give me something like that.
Yeah, like every business, it's hiring and figuring out who the best team members are going to be, who's going to actually, be there for the long haul, just instead of just being there for Botox, So that was always an issue in the beginning, and we've got a pretty solid team right now. I just hired on another receptionist, so we have 3 now, and then I hired 2 more injectors, so that makes it 4. So we've got a nice solid team. Everybody gets along good, and but I think that was probably one of the biggest in the beginning. I think the other big one is, as I have gotten busier and pretty much maxed out how many patients I can see, and without having for clients to wait too long, that's why I began hiring, so that new clients can see my new injectors who myself and Amanda, who is my nurse practitioner, we train and make sure that they're solid and at the same level, really.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. How many employees do you have right now?
So we're at 10 right now.
10 right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 10 employees, and we just keep adding slowly, which has been good.
So tell me a little bit what sets apart you and your competition.
Yeah, I think like you were mentioning, when when you walk in, it doesn't feel like a doctor's office per se. Even though it's still medicine and we're still abiding by like medical, rules and regulations, we made it more of a spa atmosphere. I think, we try to hit all of the 5 senses with that location in Sarasota, everything from smell to sight to, and make sure when someone walks in, they feel really good by having some fun music in the front and relaxing music in the back. So I think giving somebody overall kind of 5-star experience is key, and that's not just the injector, but it's like the whole staff, from offering them water or snacks, or even just saying hi and bye and getting to know them is key. I think that's one thing that definitely sets us apart. I think also because we order a lot of product, we are able to get our pricing for Botox and fillers, really reasonable, and we're able to pass that price and I guess discount, you want to call it, to our clients directly versus overcharging them like a lot of places do. So we've really worked with our reps and the pharmaceutical companies to definitely help with maintaining that relationship to keep our prices down, and clients appreciate it because I get told that all the time, especially maintaining this stuff.
I was going to, because I noticed when I had priced out a few things that you guys do, and that and with other couple like places that do sort of the same stuff that you do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe the difference in price.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like, that's kind of crazy. I was like, and that's one of the things is like, but I believe if you can keep the price down, and still give the same service, that's going to take you a lot longer down the road, and that was the thing is like, I think that, watching that, because, I think people do want to take care of themselves, but at the same time, not everybody can afford it, right?
Right.
And so like, I know like a ranch is a little bit of a different animal, but like, your everyday person can't just say, hey, I want to go get Botox, right? So, and I know there's some places out there, and even some of the other services that you guys do that I was looking at for myself, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe the difference in pricing. And, and that was one of the things that like, I'm like, okay, so I really did see that. And then the service, I mean, when I came in, just from everybody at the front desk, people calling me, checking up on me, getting just all the different things. And just like, I mean, you really do have a really good team there, and I can feel the energy, and I know that always comes from up top because typically it follows, right? Yeah. So you can see that, and everybody's happy to be there, and everybody wants to work. So why don't you kind of tell me, Jeff, a little bit about, okay, so when you first got started, you were going out and you were hitting a bunch of hairdressers and doing something like that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, because that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so when I was doing medicine at the time, and I was doing some Botox in that family practice office I was working at, I thought, you know what, I'm like, I want to make some extra money, and who wouldn't, right? So what I did was I started just basically walking into nail salons, hair salons, facialists, and just saying, would you guys want to have a, Botox event? And so my medical malpractice covered me for mobile entity parties or events, they called them. And so I hooked up with about 20 to 25 local hair salons, and I would go every Saturday and basically meet all their clients while they're getting their hair done and dyed and colored and everything, and I would inject them. And so I built up my practice that way. And I did everything I could because I was like, I wasn't going to fail.
So where did most people get the Botox at? I mean, is that just like the crow's feet, or is there different spots, or
So there's FDA approved areas, and then there's off-label areas. Just like when your doctor prescribes you medicine, it's sometimes used off-label for other things. But Botox, Xeomin, Dysport, and all those, they're indicated for the middle of the eyes or the brows here, the forehead, and then around the eyes. But we're using them all over. So I mean, I'll use them. We're using it for excessive sweating. We're using it for hair sweat, so you can inject it in the scalp to prevent sweating. Chin, to give a lip flip to pull the lip up. Masseters, so it helps with people with TMJ. But it's used in a lot of locations. People who have gummy smiles, we can use it for.
Gummy smiles?
Yeah, gummy smiles where their mouth pulls up too much. They show too much gum on their smile.
Yeah.
So it's just about knowing the anatomy, knowing where you're relaxing so that you get the opposite effect, really. And then knowing how many units to put in. But that's why you go to someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like, I know there's some people are like, maybe they got too much, and then like they can't like close their eyes. I've heard horror stories.
Well, yeah, yeah, and that's why you need to come to see us, because if you don't inject a lot of it, just like anything, you don't become good at it. And we have people all the time that go to dermatologists or plastic surgeons. They do most surgery, the derms do, and the plastic surgeons do surgery. They don't inject a lot. There's no reason not to come to us because we have great pricing, but we also have, that's all we do. We inject, our staff injects about 400 clients a week with Botox or fillers. So we do that 5 days a week, all of us, that's it. So, it's our specialty, and that's why it's important to do that.
And the fillers, is that so? I've seen you put up a couple posts lately with women who are getting their lips done. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, same exact thing. So that's lip filler. Yep.
Okay.
So it's all about looking natural. That's one of our goals is staying looking natural but rejuvenated. So you use a smaller, thinner filler for certain areas of the face. So if somebody's looking for a natural look, you put a thinner filler in. If they want bigger, you go thicker.
Okay.
So, but it's all just, you got to listen to the client, and the technique of injecting is based on what they're looking for, so they don't walk around looking crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. But that's not all you do. So you actually do laser, right?
Yeah. So we have two, I call them our workhorses. So we do all the laser hair removal for the full body. And we use our Alma Soprano Ice for that. And then we have another laser called the Harmony, which has, it's a multi-use platform. So it's tattoo removal, pixel skin resurfacing, so for acne scars and aging, skin tightening, and then IPL photofacial. So that is for like brown spots, facial capillaries, which can be used on the face or arms, legs, and décolleté. So those lasers are kind of our workhorses. We have two awesome laser techs that use those full time in our spa, and they're little beasts.
That's kind of crazy, because I know that was one of the things that I was looking at. As I've gotten older, I started noticing that I'm getting little brown spots on the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where the heck did these things come from? And I was like, and it's like, all right, I remember growing up, then, my grandfather, he was bald, and he started getting them really bad. I'm like, no, I'm not going to look like my grandfather.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, it's bad enough I'm bald already. Last thing I want brown spots on the top of my head. And so like that was one of the things I know we were talking about, and I was like, all right, let's see what else we can do here, because like the thing is like, and we haven't gone through the procedure yet, but it seems very painless and very easy to get it done, and it's not a long period of time, which I was actually surprised.
Yeah. It's quick. It is a little sensitive. And you'll see. It's not bad. It's worse on the face, but like anything, beauty is a little pain.
Right.
You gotta get through, but it's very effective. It pulls the pigment out of the skin, darkens it, and then it falls off. And the IPL works great for it. So, but we'll get you in for that for sure.
All right, awesome. All right, Jeff. So anything else you want to tell us about your company, about anything else?
Yeah, so in regards to the EMSCULPT NEO that we were talking about, we're currently running it's a discovery session where you can come in, feel how the EMSCULPT works. It's about 10 minutes, so we'll do a personal analysis of the body area that you're concerned about, make sure you're a candidate, and then you will have the EMSCULPT NEO on you for about 5 minutes, see how it feels, and then you can decide if it's something that you'd want to pursue.
Awesome. So how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, you call us at 941-203-5111, or you can go online. It's www.elitemedspa.com, and you can check out all the before and afters of EMSCULPT or any of the procedures we're doing, or check us out at Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I've seen all kinds of pictures. You're always posting stuff, so it's always out there. You can see the before and afters, and it's really great. Well, I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
All right, don't forget to like and subscribe our podcast, and we'll see you next time.